There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. That guy sitting over there, punching buttons and making the show come together through the magic of editing is Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Hiya.
We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, a lot of weird news. I want to remind people that this Friday, we have a special video presentation that'll be taking place on our Darkness Radio YouTube page and our social media pages, Facebook and such. So make sure you follow us and join us live in the afternoon. We're going to be talking with Terry Carnation of Dark Air. The legendary broadcaster is coming back to the airwaves. And if you're not familiar with Terry Carnation, go familiarize yourself. We have the Terry Carnation live video stream. We're going to be talking supernatural news and all things paranormal with him for a short bit. That will be a live video that takes place Friday this week. And then that audio will be put into next Wednesday's Supernatural News and Parashare, and we'll have a much longer version. It is going to be a fun little interview this Friday with Terry Carnation, so make sure you tune in for that. I also want to make a mention, Tim. You know, we've been trying to help raise money for Special Olympics with the polar plunge. Mm-hmm. My son Cliff, who's a Minnesota firefighter, is going to take the plunge into the icy waters of Minnesota here in April. And they're doing this along with the other great organizations throughout Minnesota that do this and sponsor to raise awareness of Special Olympics. All the money they raise goes to help Special Olympians with their training, their clothing, their travel expenses, important things like that. So I have a doll with me, Tim, that was used, a haunted doll that I used on board the Queen Mary episode of Holzer Files. And it is the episode Dead Calm. And this is the actual doll. I had the recorder strapped to her leg, leaving her in the pool area to try to communicate with Jackie the ghost. So I've named this doll Jackie so that you've got a piece of that history on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/darknessradiodave. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this posting. I am putting it up for auction. It is only on my Facebook page. Go in there and put a bid if you'd like to. Just make sure you're paying attention to what the current bid is, so you're not starting off with, I'll give you $28. So it's up and it's available. You can keep an eye on it with us. This will end this coming Sunday at midnight Central Time. I will shut it down. The winner will be contacted and sent a link to make the donation. And if they make the donation, and I get that proof, I will ship this out along with an autographed Holzer Files card from me, Dave Schrader. So you'll get that. That's just a cool way for us to help raise money for the much needed fund for Special Olympics for Polar Plunge. So keep that in mind. That's kind of cool and going on this week. And you can see the picture of the doll up. You can go watch the episode, see the doll in the episode, and now you'll have an actual game-worn jersey kind of thing, right, Tim? This is actually used in the episode. You'll see it in the episode. It's a one-of-a-kind. It's the only doll. Well, I had two dolls there. I had that and this little mini doll, but she didn't get any screen time. She's there. You can see her laying on the floor, the little mini doll, but maybe I'll auction that off next week. To help raise more money. It's just she's a little like maybe 2-inch, 3-inch doll that I brought along. Beautiful little doll, creepy, and maybe I'll put that out there as well because you can see her in the episode. She's just not the main doll I use, but that's what's going on. And I've been mentioning, if you're interested, I've got a handful of these kits left. I've got my book, The Other Side, a guide to ghost hunting and the paranormal that I co-wrote with Marley Gibson and Patrick Burns. I've got an autographed Holzer Files card that I'll sign for you, and a Darkness Radio car decal that you can put on your car. The kit is $20 plus, I think, $5 shipping and handling. So if you're interested in that, email me, say you'd like Dave's small package, and I will. Well, it's a small package. It's just a book, a decal, and an autographed card, Tim. So people that want to get their hands on my small package can do it just by emailing me at dave@darknessradio.com and just say, I want Dave's package. And I'll make sure that we send out the invoice. You pay it. We'll play it. It'll be shipped out to you, and you'll have that within the next 10 to 12 business days.
I don't think you ought to downplay the size of your package, buddy. I think you ought to.
Well, you know what? It is a good value, and anytime you can get your hands on something like that, I'd always recommend it. It's worth the effort to put into it to get a hold of my package. And you can't get them everywhere, Tim. I'm the only place that offers it. You can also go to darknessradio.com, click on the shop, and you'll be able to find our Amazon shop link there. But you can also find the offer for just my book. If you want to buy just my autographed book, it's available there as well. And it doesn't come with the Holzer Files card or the card decal. It is, I think, $15 for the book, $5 shipping and handling, for a total of $20. Or for $25, you get the decal, you get the book, you get the autographed card. I think it's the best way to enjoy my package, Tim, is just going for it.
Well, anytime you can adorn your package with something, it's a lot more enjoyable.
Well, I always like to give a little extra with my package, Tim, so that people feel that when they go away, they really feel satisfied. So
it's always a way to go. Yeah.
If you cannot bid on the doll because it's out of your price range, but you'd still like to make a donation, we're still scrambling. Our goal was trying to get 10 grand. Right now, we're just going to try to settle for 5 because it's slow. I understand COVID has been destructive to many people's income sources. We're not far away from that, and that's why we're trying to help with offering the bid of the doll out there as well. So if you can be a part of that, or just email me and say Polar Plunge, and I'll send you a link. You can go make a donation of whatever size you're comfortable with, $1, $5, $10, $20. But it'd be great if you could go out there and make that donation to the Polar Plunge. Just email me, dave@darknessradio.com. All right, Tim, let's get started. We've got news. Scientists have a new theory about that weird interstellar object, Oumuamua, Tim.
Oumuamua?
Yeah, they're not buying into this scientist from Harvard who believes it's an alien ship or craft.
Yeah, I don't know.
When a bizarre, speedy object cruised through our solar system back in 2017, it seemed that everyone in the astronomy world took notice. It was quickly discovered that the object, dubbed Oumuamua, had come from outside of our own solar system, making its first interstellar object ever detected by humans. That's pretty exciting stuff on all its own. But one scientist agreed that it was a foreign body. The long and complicated task of identifying it began, and 4 years later, it hasn't stopped. Researchers could only learn so much about the object due to its speed and time when it was spotted. The object was already headed back out of our system when scientists first trained their equipment to observe it. So we only know a few things for sure. For one, it was shaped like a cigar or perhaps a pancake. Those are two totally different things.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
Either way, it had a very skinny profile when viewed from the side, and it was speeding up as it exited our system. Both of those things left scientists scratching their heads. But a new study suggests the possible origins of the object, and it's definitely worth some consideration, Tim. As Guardian reported, the researchers behind a pair of new papers published by the American Geophysical Union believe that Oumuamua was a chunk of another world. The visitor, they say, was probably shaped like a cookie. Cookie, pancake, cigar. Too many thoughts, Tim.
You can only smoke one of them, and I'll tell you, when I smoke my cookies, they are excellent.
Boy, can you get high if it's a double chocolate chip.
Yep.
And it's really likely it was a piece of a planet like Pluto that had somehow broken free and was sent flying into space. It's good to know Uranus is still firmly in place, though, Tim.
Well,
nobody wants to think
yourself.
About Uranus, expelling parts of itself throughout the universe.
Speak for yourself, Dave. I expel plenty of parts of my anus all over the place. Yeah.
No, Uranus, Tim, the planet.
Oh,
planet.
Oh,
Yeah.
Have I said too much medically?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. That might sound like a wild theory, and I suppose it is, but the scientists have a very good reason for believing it's plausible. The fact that Oumuamua accelerated as it left our solar system is perhaps the strangest thing about it. When objects move away from the sun, they always slow down due to the intense pull of gravity. But not Oumuamua. The fact that it sped up left many people sparked with theories about its origins, including the possibility that it was some sort of alien spacecraft or probe, Tim's second favorite word next to moist in the English dictionary.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe a discarded piece of alien space trash. The team behind this study thought about it a bit differently. The acceleration, they say, was probably due to the object having a high concentration of nitrogen ice. As the nitrogen sublimated into a gas, it was being heated up by the sun, and it was able to speed up but not leave a visible tail like a comet, the researchers believe. Unfortunately, this is one of those curious questions that will probably never be conclusively answered. Oumuamua is already headed out of our solar system and is too far away to be observed by any modern telescopes. It's long gone, and all we have to go on is what we've already observed, which sadly isn't much. The only way we'd know exactly what it is if it really was an alien spacecraft and decided to come back for a second visit, Tim. We've got a lot in the way of news this week with UFOs. We have some audio we'll play in a few moments. A former top national intelligence officer hinted that an upcoming government report on UFOs will include information that cannot be easily explained. There are instances where we have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen, and when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about it. That's what former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe told Fox's Maria Bartiromo on Friday. And we've got some audio from that. Let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Actually is a program that's been in place for a few years in terms of a task force that has been there under the National Defense Authorization Act. But as you correctly point out, Maria, there's now a report that will be issued by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence. I actually wanted to get this information out and declassified before I left office, but we weren't able to get it down into an unclassified format that we could talk about quickly enough. But frankly, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain, that movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. So in short, things that we are observing that are difficult to explain. And so, there's actually quite a few of those. And I think that information is being gathered and will be put out in a way that the American people can see. We always, when we see these things, Maria, we always look for a plausible explanation. Weather can cause disturbances, visual disturbances. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized. But there are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. And, when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
Can you tell us where it was seen?
Actually, all over the world. There have been sightings all over the world. And when we talk about sightings, the other thing I will tell you is it's not just a pilot or just a satellite or some intelligence collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things. And so, again, some of this are just they're unexplained phenomenon. And there's actually quite a few more than have been made public. So I think it'll be healthy for as much of this information to get out there as possible so that the American people can see.
That's pretty remarkable that that's coming out. We've been talking about this. I'm excited for this report to come out. I, unlike Tim, think we're in for some interesting revelations. I don't know, Tim, when you hear that and you're hearing from the government directly and they're saying, well, as soon as this report's out, we're going to come out. We're going to talk more about this. Are you starting to feel a little bit more like aliens may be real and that we are being visited?
No, because you know what I heard in there? I also heard that, it could be It could be, people in other
said
countries.
That there are
it could
other,
be.
Yeah, he said that there are other things they have to discount, but when we get done to it, there are things that are completely unexplainable to them.
Yes, he did say there are things, but he's also saying that there are other factors in there as well. So the fact that he's admitting that there are countries with other technologies that they can't account for tells me that they very much are grounded. That they know that there are other technologies that they are unaware of. That they know that there are countries that are developing technologies, and that they know that they have secret technologies as well. So to me, that tells me that nations are further along in their defense technology than we're aware of.
Well, Luis Elizondo, who is a 22-year veteran of the Department of Defense with top security clearance, is a senior career intelligence officer who has worked for the Army, the National Counterintelligence Executive, and the Director of National Intelligence. He was a director for the National Programs Special Management Staff in the Office of the Secretary of Defense and former director of programs to investigate unidentified aerial threats for the Office of the Secretary of Defense. And he is also weighing in this week. Let's go ahead and hear what Luis Elizondo had to share.
So, when people say, "Oh, you're in that business," how do you explain these UFOs?
Sure. Well, my business has always been that as an investigator. I was an intelligence officer for the U.S. government, so my business was just to find the truth, whatever the truth is, whether it's a terrorism investigation or counterespionage. Yeah, we applied the same methodologies we did investigating terrorist, if you will, operations and operatives as we did with this. And the information is very compelling. It's real.
Yeah. Okay, it's real. Are they from another planet?
Well, I think it's too early to tell. The three options that have been presented, that is our secret technology, but we've done a terrible job at coordinating the testing of this technology for decades with ourselves, which is highly unlikely. The second option is that it's foreign adversarial technology, which, if you were to ask me, would be a huge intelligence failure of this country because we've been technologically leapfrogged. Or the third option is that it's something completely different. If it's not ours and it's not theirs, well, then it's someone or something else.
I can't wait for this report to come out. Lou, thank you very much for joining us today.
All right, so people are weighing in from all angles on what is going on in the skies above us. Viral Mars conspiracy theory video claims humans lived on Mars and destroyed it in a nuclear war. A video in which a TikTok user claims humans once lived on Mars but rendered it uninhabitable in a nuclear war has gone viral. The false but entertaining theory also states this war could have caused a nuclear winter, which is responsible for Mars' popular red color. It has currently been liked more than 230,000 times, shared nearly 10,000 times. The theory explained by the user Crackhead Joe Dirt, which automatically lends a lot of credibility to his claim, Tim. Put forward in response to the question, what's a conspiracy theory that absolutely blows your mind? Crackhead Joe Dirt states Mars isn't naturally red. Want to know what can cause a planet to turn red and change after a couple of million years? If enough nukes were to go off on a planet, the first thing that would happen is a nuclear winter. A nuclear winter is an aftermath of a nuclear blast causing ash that is so thick that it blocks out the sunlight. After all the natural resources are drained up from the nuclear winter, the planet turns red from dust. My theory is that we've come from Mars after we drained all of its natural resources and destroyed it with nuclear bombs. The user states Mars once had natural resources such as water, since scientists believe the planet once had flowing water on its surface billions of years ago. This is where the theory falls apart, however. Since the time scale in question is billions of years and not the mere hundreds or thousands it would allegedly take for a nuclear winter to clear up, it is unclear whether this nuclear winter figure is from. A study published in the journal Science on March 16th this year states that current volume of water on Mars was reached around 3 billion years ago. Humans capable of walking on two legs only emerged around 4 million years ago, according to the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. The study also states that Mars' water loss could be due to two factors: water being lost to space due to atmospheric escape, and water being essentially absorbed into rocks, where much of it remains. So why is Mars red? Well, I'm glad you asked, Tim.
Yeah, I'm asking, Dave.
Mars has its signature red color because the Martian surface is essentially covered in rust, also known as iron oxide, and not nuclear waste. The sky also appears to have a pink or light orange coloration because these particles of rust are blown into the atmosphere with the wind. NASA scientists think the reason Mars is covered in iron oxide and the Earth is not may be to do with the fact that Mars is smaller than Earth and has weaker gravity. When the planets were forming, much of Earth's iron sank down into its core, but on Mars it allowed to remain more spread out because of this weaker gravitational force. An older report from the journal Nature in 2004 states that similarly, temperatures in the early Earth billions of years ago were high enough to melt iron oxide and allow this to sink into our planet's core. On Mars, the temperatures weren't hard enough for this to happen, leaving the iron oxide up near the surface. I do not know of any other explanation for Mars' rustiness, said John Murray, a planetary scientist at the Open University in Milton Keynes in the UK at the time. What if it turns out that that's no moon? What if the reason it's rusting is because it's a former derelict starbase, Tim? Let's start that. Oh, why not? Why don't we create crazy content that we can talk about on the interwebs, Tim, on the Talktickins, and put up videos where we can become legendary? 230,000 downloads and listens and 10,000 shares.
Because that would be irresponsible?
Is it? Is it to think, to put forth a theory, is that irresponsible, that maybe Mars is a rusting former Death Star? Just saying, put it out there. Think about it. Think about it. You know what? I can already tell one of them Instagrammans from the Twitter universe, Tim, are going to be Talkticking video about this already, and we'll get cut out of the mix.
Probably.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Wait, what? A man cut off his tongue, nose, lips, and ears to look like a black alien.
What?
You heard that. There have been a lot of rumors of spotting aliens on Earth, but have you heard of one on Instagram? Well, yes, a 32-year-old man named Anthony Lafredo has transformed himself into a black alien. It's true. He has cut his ears, tongue, nose, and lips to look very scary, actually. Almost all of his body is covered in tattoos and piercings. Surprised? Wait till you know what he has planned about mutilating the rest of his body. As per reports, Lafredo is all set to replace his skin with metal. And he even wants to modify his fingers, hands, legs, and head.
No.
His head, shoulders, knees and toes, Tim.
Oh, no. No.
Speaking to a French news portal in 2017, Lafredo said, "From a very young age, I have been passionate about mutations and transformations of the human body. I had a click when I was a security guard. I realized that I was not living my life the way I wanted. I stopped everything at 24 and left for Australia. It has become normal, even unconscious, to constantly think about my plans for the next few months." He had further added, "I love getting into the shoes of a scary character. I often settle down somewhere and play a role, especially at night in the dark streets. He has fun. I explore the contrast between the role I play and myself." Anthony Lafredo, who has as many as 345,000 followers on his Instagram handle, went through the whole transformation in Barcelona, Spain. What's even more surprising is that he confessed about feeling uneasy while speaking as the man has removed his upper lip and a part of his nose. So I've got this video and picture up on Darkness Radio under the news. I'm not body shaming. If this is how the guy identifies, God love him. It's weird.
Okay, but there's a line, isn't there? I mean, when you come to the point where you start, I mean, as long as you don't do harm to others, I guess it's fine. You can do whatever you want to yourself, but isn't there a point where you really do start doing harm to yourself when you start doing certain body modifications? Where
I don't know. I mean, I guess so. He's, it's unique. He's terrifyingly unique. I'm sure this is going to appeal to some people, but I don't know. If he feels he's not living his real life, though, I'm all for going out and living your real life. I just hope it's not one of those, no regrets tattoos kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the other part of it too is okay. So and I mean, this isn't like a political stance or anything, but honestly, you have to think about who's footing the bill. I mean, if you're paying for it yourself, God love you, you can do whatever you want. But if you're on, if this is a thing where, like, let's say your insurance is paid for by a county, you can't expect a taxpayer footed bill to pay for all the body modification. I mean, you honestly have to. I
don't think he's doing that. I think he went to Australia. I think he's going to countries where they allow you to do what you want to do.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If the taxpayers of Australia are paying for that body modification, it shouldn't be on the taxpayers of Australia to pay for that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know that it is. Yeah, I don't know.
You know, because some countries have socialized medicine. Yeah. So to put that on the citizens of a country to pay for something like that would be absolutely wrong, I would think, you know?
I don't know. They don't give any more information on it than that. Since we're on this kind of alien jag, we have another audio. Throughout the world, ancient objects have been found that leave archaeologists at a loss. Could these impossible artifacts suggest that advanced and perhaps even extraterrestrial civilizations existed on Earth thousands of years before our own? Here's a little audio from Ancient Aliens' Impossible Artifacts.
Throughout the world, countless mysterious artifacts have been discovered that defy any conventional explanation. And while skeptics may insist that proof of alien visitation could only come in the form of some highly advanced technology, ancient astronaut theorists suggest even the most mundane items can serve as evidence. In fact, in 1936, a local couple in London, Texas, were walking along a creek when they came upon one of the most puzzling ancient artifacts ever found: a hammer.
It was a prehistoric hammer, if you will, with part of the handle still in place inside some very old rock. And part of the handle actually is starting to go through a process called coalification. It's where you have inorganic material and organic material changing into coal. Now, how old is this hammer? The hammer itself was found in the Travis Formation. It's a concretion of sandstone. And it usually takes about 140 million years for this to form. Who was here 140 million years ago?
Modern day archaeology suggests that we've only been around for about 10,000 years. So this falls into the category of out-of-place artifacts. Around the world, there are so-called out-of-place artifacts, commonly referred to as OOPArts. And those OOPArts are challenging mainstream archaeology because they do not fit into the accepted chronology of what mainstream science says.
Could a 140 million year old hammer really have been discovered in Texas? Skeptics argue that the couple who came upon this hammer must have been mistaken about where they found it. But could there be so-called impossible artifacts whose authenticity is beyond question? Egypt, Valley of the Kings, November 1922. British archaeologists Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon discover what will prove to be one of the most important finds in the history of Egyptology: the tomb of King Tutankhamun. To this day, it is considered the best preserved and most intact tomb ever discovered in the Valley of the Kings, and within it, a very puzzling artifact was found.
While they're unpacking Tut's mummy, they discover these incredible daggers. One of them had an iron blade with a gold handle and a crystal knob on it. This is 2 centuries before Egypt is supposed to have had the ability to manipulate iron in this way. In 2016, new tests were done on this dagger, and it was confirmed that this is not just iron, this is meteoric iron. This iron came from the stars.
Anybody who's ever worked with meteorites, even today, will tell you it's very difficult to do this because of the high nickel content. It makes the metal very brittle. And a technique known as folding or stacking has to be done in order to strengthen it, or else it'll crack and fracture. So the metal has to be heated up to about 2,000 degrees and then folded and hammered, folded and hammered. But the dagger doesn't display the telltale signs of folding, which is usually the striations that run through the metal. So how was this blade made?
According to their texts, the knowledge of how to work with metal was given to the Egyptians by the god Ptah.
Ptah was the Egyptian god of smithcraft and alchemy. He came from the star Sirius. He had green skin. Is it possible that this incredible dagger has some sort of an extraterrestrial connection?
Very cool. Interesting stuff. You know, when you look at the cosmic scope of our place in the universe and the stories we think we've uncovered, much like my theory that Mars is nothing more than a rusted out former space station, Tim, we're finding strange things here on planet Earth that just defy logic for the eras and the time periods they're being found in. Are they left as trinkets by time travelers? Are they proof that pre-existing locations like Lemuria and Atlantis existed? What exactly is all of this? What does it mean? I love that. That's part of what keeps my drive and motivation in this field so interesting. I just think it's crazy.
It's cool to wonder about and look into the theories. I wonder though how realistic it truly is, because we're so far apart from, although it seems like we're right on the edge or right on the tip of discovering it, it seems so far away, to me, at least it seems like it is. We talk about how close we are to disclosure, yet it seems like, let me throw a theory at you real quick. And this has come about, especially with the last spate of guests we've had. We get thrown with and I look at it sometimes as an excuse, and I'll use the word excuse very blatantly. And to me, it's an excuse when we have people who have had contact with aliens, and the excuse comes up. Well, if we just all come together, if we, when we all come together, the aliens will come in contact with us, and they'll help us, and it'll all be kumbaya, and everything will be fine. But as long as we're a warring civilization, they can't, they can't come in and aid us, or, come on. You and
I have both had problems with that for a long time. And we're not slighting the people that have that belief, but it's just something that's very hard for us to accept.
I've always laughed at, if you ever watch South Park, I love Matt and Trey's sense of humor that Earth is just one big sitcom for aliens. It's a big TV network. It's a big reality show where they all get their kicks. It's all based on seasons. Where it's Planet Earth is the name of the TV show, and they basically just sit back and laugh at us. And the fact of the matter is it's a big petri dish. They put it all together, and
Simpsons have been putting that theory out there for a long time.
Yeah, and
on their Treehouse of Horror stories, right?
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is I don't buy the big kumbaya peace and love thing, and that there's if there are celestial beings out there, they're just waiting for us to get our stuff together so we can all have this peace and love and harmony fest. I don't think it's anything like that at all. If there are beings out there that are cruising around in spaceships, I think they're looking after their own race. I think they're looking after their own civilizations, and if they're out there, and if they did seed this planet with any type of species, I think, and if there are bigger beings and more benevolent beings than we are, I think they did it and used this planet as a petri dish to see if whatever they seeded this planet with could survive. I don't think there's anything here that they're particularly interested in, other than gathering resources or seeing if the human monkeys could actually survive, or if we were teachable beings. And if we weren't, then they abandoned us. I think, and every once in a while they may look in on us to see if we've, progressed at all. But I don't honestly, I think people have got it all wrong. If there are,
interesting.
I don't think that it's as complex as people think. I don't think that I honestly don't think if there are intelligent beings zooming around in spaceships that they have any. I think maybe this experimentation, probing, getting kidnapped in the middle of the night has anything to do with anything other than they're just checking up on their subjects.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of those theories, and you and I have heard them talking about the fact that, we are a scientific experiment gone wrong, or DNA blown here through a meteor or asteroid from another planet. I don't know. It's interesting. I wish we had a better handle on all of that. We've got a lot more news stories to cover. We've got some emails to discuss as well, some other cool stuff going on, so make sure you stay tuned. We also have a brand new Theater of the Mind. That'll be coming up in just a bit right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back. This is the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Shader. That cuddly fellow over there, Tim Dennis. So we deliver to you the news, the strangeness that is the world around us. Remember, later on this week, live video. We're going to be hosting a live video this Friday on our Darkness Radio YouTube channel. The link is already up. You can go click it. You can also go to the Darkness Radio Facebook page and click the reminder so you don't miss it. Terry Carnation, our special guest for a segment on the program, and we're going to be doing that this Friday. Make sure you tune in and you're a part of the program. It's going to be a lot of fun, and wait till you meet legendary radio show host Terry Carnation. We're excited to be sharing. Tim, this is a momentous occasion for Darkness Radio to be dealing with a legendary host of this stature visiting with us.
Most definitely.
Kind of slumming it out.
Yeah. I mean, we've been pretty blessed throughout our career to have been able to work with some of the greats in the business. We've had these special moments throughout our career where we've been able to intersect with these hosts of different shows and be able to work with them, be able to step into their shoes, be able to have these moments where we can work with them, be able to have these moments. And I'm really looking forward to this moment with Terry Carnation. I really think it's going to be a special program, and I really encourage people to tune in and see what we're going to do here. This is going to really be something special.
Right. And Terry Carnation, the audio from this video, if you can't watch it live during the day, the audio will be put on our podcast next Wednesday, part of our Supernatural News, because Terry Carnation's show launches April 1st. Dark Air is back, and you'll be able to hear strange and unusual tales of supernatural hijinks. So make sure you check that out. Dark Air, Terry Carnation, back at the helm April 1st. No, it's not a joke. Truly returning on April 1st. Here's an email. Hi. Oh, God, really?
What?
It hurts my mouth to say this. Hello, Tim and Dave.
Hiya.
Yes, I put Tim first, he says. Just wanted to send a quick email simply saying thank you for the content that you provide us. I can't remember how I found you guys, but I've been listening since you were on the radio. I would download the podcasts and listen while I do my daily 1-hour commute to and from work, and I appreciate the humor you guys bring to each episode, as well as the music and pop culture references, as we are very similar in age. Although I may not agree with or are interested in some of the content that you guys talk about, I just simply don't listen to that episode and come back for the next one. Now, I wanted to read this because of that. I want to tell you something. I appreciate the email so far, James. do me a favor, listen to some of the topics you normally wouldn't be interested in and see if we're able to make them more interesting for you. That has been one of the biggest compliments we've gotten, is that people that have tuned in for episodes that normally they don't think would be their cup of tea, they really enjoy the way we tackle the story and the case.
Yeah.
So I'd love for you to challenge your paradigm and give them a listen. Listen, you might be missing out on some of the best interviews you've never heard.
Mm-hmm.
Or just pure shit. I'm not sure. Either one. Could be one of those. Yeah. This past year has sadly amplified the amount of crazy assholes that are in the world. I don't mean to make light of people with mental problems, just the assholes that think it's okay to tell people the way they do things because they're sitting behind a keyboard. I appreciate all the hard work you guys put in and wish you nothing but the best moving forward. Thanks, James up in Canada. P.S. Orbs are bullshit, and Tim is a hell of a guy for having to put up with Dave's egotistical ass as long as he has. Oh, yeah. Why have we not heard about black-eyed kids much lately? Those stories always creeped me out. It's a good question. The black-eyed kids seem to be in hiding. Jim. Or are they? We may have a story coming up soon. Here's another quick email. Hello, Tim and Dave.
Hiya.
What the flip? I don't like this at all. Oh, and Dave and Tim.
Oh.
Hope you both continue to do well and stay safe. Please don't share my name on the show.
Okay.
First, some background, which is long-winded, but hopefully worth it in the end. I'm a social worker manager at a hospital in New York City. March is Social Work Month, and every year during this month, our hospital system collections nominations for Social Worker of the Year. 2 social workers from each facility are recognized as winners based on the number of nominations received. Well, my boss collects all the nominations and keeps a handwritten list and tally of everyone nominated. Once all the nominations are submitted and tallied, she gives them to me, and I create a PowerPoint presentation of all the nominees at my hospital. I try to include a picture of each social worker along with key words from the nominations they received. Some of the same social workers get nominated every year, one of them being Greg. I have never been able to get a picture of Greg for the PowerPoint because he works nights due to his shift. He also has never been able to see the presentation since the celebrations are held during the day. So now, on Tuesday of this week, I began creating this year's presentation. I created Greg's slide and typed up these keywords from his nominations. Yesterday, Thursday, my social work department had a grab-and-go dessert for all of the hospital social workers. Greg was in the day of the shift. So I stopped by and I thought, here's my chance to finally get his picture for the PowerPoint after all these years. I chatted with him and asked if I may take his picture for this year's presentation. He replied he's not really a picture person. I tell him he's nominated annually, but never been able to post his picture, and it would be nice to finally do so. Greg's reply was, yeah, I heard about that. Whoever is doing it needs to stop. Mm-hmm. He declined the photo. Okay, no pressure. Such things are voluntary. Today, Friday, I'm finishing the PowerPoint. When I cycle through it, Greg's slide is missing. I get upset thinking I accidentally deleted it, and I have to redo it. I go back to the nominations, and I don't find any of them. I call my boss and get the handwritten master list of nominees, and his name isn't on it. I asked her if she recalled me talking to him yesterday regarding the photo, which she did. So I pointed out his name is no longer on her list. There are no nominations for him, and his slide disappeared. Her response was that she doesn't recall him being nominated. I was shocked. I think Greg somehow created a time slip with his statement to me yesterday about the person needing to stop. Not sure how this happened, but I am the only person that recalls him being nominated this year. Was I the only person affected? Or is that I was not affected and everyone else was? Thanks for not sharing my name, Dudley J. Oh, son of a...
What the...
Well, I mean, we could fix that in post, right? We don't have to say his name is Dudley J.
Well,
you could edit out Dudley J at any time, right?
Well, you keep saying it.
What? I'm just saying Dudley J is the name we need to take out. Oh, my God, Tim.
There's so many edit points.
You're right. I've created way too many edit points. I'm sorry. And Dudley J, if you want to send a complaint to Tim, you can email him or just send a regular snail mail right to his address at 314.
Dave.
What?
Dave.
What?
We talked about this.
I know, but I'm trying to give Dudley J a way to contact you and thank you for editing his name out of this.
You keep saying it.
Well, because, Tim, it's the only way Dudley J is going to know that you went in and removed his name from this. So mail Tim a letter at 314.
No, Dave.
What?
Stop saying my address. And stop saying Dudley J's name. Now I'm doing it.
Oh, good God.
Why would
Tim,
you have me
done?
doing it?
You're right. Texting's easier. Just text him at 612.
No, Dave. No.
No?
Stop giving out my personal information. Dudley J would not appreciate that. Now you got me. Oh, God.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dudley J. I don't know what.
Oh, don't. No, it's another edit point.
It's crazy that this happened because I don't know. Are you living a Mandela effect? Did you eat that dessert and it killed you in that reality and your consciousness leapt over to this world where this guy was not nominated? Greg was not part of the list?
I think Greg's a vampire.
Could be.
Yeah.
He just does not want to be. He's some kind of a covert alien specialist.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to be seen. I think you can't see him in a mirror.
Okay.
I think you can't take his picture.
Very cool story, Judley Day. Huh?
Yeah, another edit point.
His name there? No, Judley Day. Nobody even knows that I'm saying Dudley J that way, Tim.
Oh, you said it again.
A bitch. Hi, Dave. I'm wondering if you can assist me. I grew up in a haunted house, and a few of the apartments I've lived in were haunted as well. Now I'm looking at buying a house. How can I be sure that the house I pick is not already occupied by ghosts? Any thoughts or suggestions would be appreciated. Love the podcast, Darkness Radio, and the Holzer Files. Thank you, Lori Nichols. Lori Nichols. She doesn't mind if I say her name, unlike Dudley J.
Oh, God, it's another edit point.
So this is a new story. He just didn't want me to use his name for that story. This is a totally different question.
Oh,
so we can mention Dudley J.
Number 5.
You know what? First of all, you could check out a website called diedinhouse.com. Diedinhouse.com. And I think it's $12 or $13 to do a report, but it should give you an assessment of if anybody is known to have died there. That might give you the first clue. I can't guarantee you that it's not haunted, but you can also talk to our buddy David Franklin Farkas. I love saying his whole name. I probably could just call him David Farkas, but when you have an amazing name like David Franklin Farkas, why wouldn't you say the whole thing?
Yeah.
He's at househealing.com and is very adept at helping people around the world clear their property in a really unique way. We should have him back on the show. We say that every time I bring up David Franklin Farkas.
Yeah, we never do. Yeah.
No, we don't, but we should. But David could come and he actually does it remotely by changing the energetic patterns of the place that you live, kind of the grid energy. So Lori Nichols, look up David Franklin Farkas, househealing.com. Check out diedinhouse.com. Maybe if you can find a medium or somebody that you feel comfortable with to go into the place and examine it, that might be a good way to do it too, Lori. I don't know. Yeah. I love that some of these people are coming to our aid. I did a little rant a week or so ago too, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm listening to yesterday's Supernatural news, and these quote unquote longtime listeners obviously have large sticks up their asses and are not at all familiar with sarcasm or jokes. I like Sherry's got it. She understands.
Yeah.
I love the banter between the two of you. You guys always make me laugh with your senses of humor and how you tease each other and joke around. It reminds me so much of my husband, also a Tim, and his friend. About Tim's health, people didn't realize that they don't know the whole story and just assume Dave is being an egotistical, attention-grabbing whore. They may be longtime listeners, but they certainly are not hearing that Dave has mentioned Tim's voice and dental issues in the past several months. Tim, I look forward to the next Chicago or somewhere else Ghost Con, where you and I can hang out again and have drinks, but not White Claw, a.k.a. basic white bitch drink, LOL.
Yeah, no
we
White
here
Claw.
at Darkness Radio do not feel that White Claw. Feel free to be an advertiser on our show.
Well, yeah, please. Yeah.
Not sure if you remember that we met at Chet's Melody Lounge.
Yep.
But it's a fun memory for me. Dave, I only met you briefly at the 2019 Ghost Con because you're an arrogant, egotistical, self-centered prick.
Wow.
But I'd love to someday be able to have a drink with you as well. I'm just kidding. Sarcasm again. Don't let the stupid people get to you. As the kids would say, you do you, boo.
Aw.
My 15-year-old daughter will hate that I said that. LOL. She loves listening to you guys too, especially dumb crimes and stupid criminals. Take care. Stay safe. Sherry Wolf. Thank you, Sherry Wolf, for the words of encouragement and love.
Yeah.
Hey guys, first and foremost, I want to thank you for helping promote the Polar Plunge. As a coach for Special Olympians in Nebraska, I can tell you firsthand that we appreciate the volunteers that help in any way they are capable. Without everyone's participation and help, we would not be able to do what we do. So thank you. Secondly, I have a couple of stories about death, life, and death and love. First of all, again, if you're interested in donating to the Polar Plunge Special Olympics, you can just email me and we can help raise the money for my son, Cliff Schrader, who is doing the Polar Plunge to raise awareness and much needed funds for the Special Olympics. So just email me, Dave@darknessradio.com, put Polar Plunge in the line, and I will send you the link to make that donation. All right, now we go on to his stories. On death. When my uncle, who I thought was an amazing person and a real-life MacGyver, passed away at 3 a.m., the smoke detector in my bedroom started blaring out. Not chirping, but blaring. You know the difference, Tim, right? There's that...
Yeah.
Right, chirping. And then there's blaring, which is more like, heartbeat! I'm looking for a heartbeat!
Have you seen Don Johnson lately in Kenan? The new... New NBC sitcom.
No?
He's pretty good in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
We'll have to get him on the show, see if he's had any paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
We say that every time we mention his name, too.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
No.
We didn't take the batteries out or change the batteries, but it stopped shortly after we woke up. It then didn't have another issue until it started to chirp a month later when the batteries officially needed changing. Now, on life after death, it is my personal belief that in the beginning, God created the earth, and when he created light and darkness, he created time. As soon as that happened, all things gained a lifespan. And if God loves all things he created and given life to, why would he make it so that we go away forever? That's a great concept. I like that.
Yeah.
On love, my grandmother and grandfather were together since they were 8 years old. Boy, they got married young. I thought I got married young. 8 years old. They started as friends, dated, and married for over 60 years. They even shared the same birthday. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away in the fall a few years ago. My grandmother was an incredible, resilient, strong, and independent woman who was in good health. When their shared birthday came in the spring, she didn't wake up and joined him in eternity. It is my belief that she passed away from a broken heart. I know the love statement seems like it's not really connected to themes of Darkness Radio, but I present it as evidence and support that love is one of the strongest forces known and therefore supports my theory on life after death. Anyways, if you feel like any of this is worth sharing, please feel free. If not, I understand. We don't, Jerry, so we're not going to read any of it.
Yeah.
We read it all, Jerry. Those are great concepts. But I'm going to tell you, I do take a little offense that I don't think love is a statement that's connected to the themes of Darkness Radio. We talk about love all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've shared people's love stories of death and life and communication in the afterlife. So how dare you, Jerry? How dare you?
Way to go, Newman.
Right. Can we not just understand that there is in each one of us, Tim and I, an undeniable heartbeat?
But you've been waiting to bust that one out, haven't you?
Listen, you know what? People have been emailing me on the slide. They're like, dude, thank you for bringing Phenomena back. I wish you'd still try to give out Tim's address of 314.
Hey.
His phone number of 612. I'm sorry. But anyway, they've been mentioning that. And then, many people, it's funny. I put up a post on our social media page the other day. I'm like, 15 years old, 9,000 followers on that Facebook page. What's your favorite part? And you know what people tell me? They love that I try to give out your phone number and address. They hope I do it someday. They hope I slip past your censor and I get past and I actually put it out there. They also love Phenomena, Tim. And one thing people said makes their heart resilient is the sound of my dulcet tones as I beat out Heartbeat.
Okay.
Yeah, I beat out Heartbeat by Don Johnson. My own version of it. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's tell a tale as old as time, Tim. Theater of the Mind is here, and it's time to share. So sit back, turn down the lights, and enjoy this episode. Today's Theater of the Mind, Without Warning, a real-life story from Len Tower. This has troubled me for over 60 years, so thank you for the opportunity to finally let it go. I was a reporter for the Whittier Daily News, a Southern California city about 18 miles east of Los Angeles. My best friend Pat was a talented news photographer. It was in a time when any reporter loved the job. Typewriters, a back warehouse-type room with the clacking linotype machines and the melted lead composing every line. Hearing the massive power of the press as the newsprint rolled endlessly, a ribbon of white traced on an unbroken path. It was an honor to write for a newspaper in those days before everyone got a byline. Bylines had to be earned by exceptional research and writing. National stories came in on machines from United Press International or Associated Press. In those days, before President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Fridays were busy. Day assignments included police and sheriff stations, city hall, or a feature interview, usually celebrating a local Eagle Scout. Nights, after a day of covering a range of assignments, Pat and I would cover a featured local high school football game. He would masterfully capture the game action on photo. I'd take notes and write the accompanying story once we returned to the newspaper office. One particular night, Pat and I got something to eat at the Oak Room at a hotel near the newspaper office, then hopped in Pat's semi-reliable Chevy Corvair to cover a game southwest of town. I don't remember the date, although somehow California high school sounds a familiar sight all these years later. It wasn't the game that memorable night. It was what happened as we drove to the game that still haunts me. Pat was driving. It was sprinkling lightly and it was dark. As Pat drove through an underdeveloped area near an oil field, his headlights illuminated something. What happened next only took a matter of seconds. This man had apparently been hiding in the roadside ditch, waiting. Without warning, he jumped out of the right ditch and ran directly towards Pat's car. I saw he was dressed in a white t-shirt and blue jeans. It happened. Only seconds, but I remember. I don't know if Pat saw the details I believe I saw. He was, after all, driving. The point of impact was going to be exactly between us. We didn't have time to brace for an impact, nor was Pat able to stop in time. As I saw this young man race in front of the car, I noticed he was either laughing or was that just an evil smile? And the falling light rain outlined him. The rain itself never touched him. He was dry, somehow protected from the weather. At the point when impact would have certainly occurred, the running 18 to 20-year-old dark-haired young man, still smiling, vanished. We felt nothing. No impact, no feeling of anything passing through the car. I hadn't a chance to say a word. Pat didn't even have a chance to slow down or steer to avoid the impact. I know Pat saw something. I don't know if he saw the same thing I did. As we passed the likely impact point, I said, what was that? I distinctly remember Pat asking,
"Should I stop?"
I quickly looked behind us, out the small rear window. There was nothing but wet, dark asphalt divided by a white line. "Why?" I replied to Pat. "There's nothing back there." We went on and covered the game. Back at the newspaper late that night, Pat went to his upstairs darkroom to develop his film. I tallied the usual statistics and wrote the game's story. But I didn't write a word about what happened that night, or any time until today. I don't think we ever even talked about it again. But it's always been there, hiding in my memory all these years. Another fantastic story. Thank you very much for sharing, and great work on that one, Tim.
Thank you.
Great tale. Mm-hmm. Tim, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. You and I both have this love for William Shatner. We love the man. We respect the man. We respect what he stands for, the entertainment icon that he is. But there's a new news story, Tim, that might terrify you.
Yeah, I might love him a little less after this.
It might turn your blood cold, Tim.
Yeah.
William Shatner celebrates his 90th birthday. How? By creating an AI version of himself. The Shatinator, Tim. The Shatinator. My drumming of the desk is making my dog freak out downstairs. So.
As it should.
The Star Trek actor has joined interactive storytelling app Storyfile as a brand ambassador. That's right. Shatner celebrated his 90th birthday in a way that would impress even Captain Kirk. On Monday, Storyfile, an upcoming interactive storytelling app, announced that the iconic actor, writer, director is joining the company as a brand ambassador. Shatner, who's making a mark with a birthday milestone this past Monday, is the first person to work with Storyfile to create an AI-powered interactive controversial video that his family and friends can interact with for years to come. And it will be available beginning on May 2021. This is for all my children and all my children's children and all my children's loved ones and all the loved ones of the loved ones, said Shatner. That's my gift to you down through time. Story Life is set to launch June 2021. The technology used to deliver interactive storytelling includes the patented artificially intelligent interactive memory system on Conversa, which uses natural language processing and other innovative technologies. William Shatner is going where no one has gone before, said Storyfile co-founder and CEO Heather Mayo-Smith. Generations in the future will be able to have a conversation with him. Not an avatar, not a deep fake, but with the real William Shatner answering their questions about his life and work. This changes the trajectory of the future of how we experience life today and how we share those lessons and stories for generations to come. Storyfile co-founder Stephen Smith added, who better to show the world how Storyfile life works than William Shatner, a man the world knows for stretching our imaginations about the future and life in this universe and beyond. A man who has always generously shared the highs and lows with us and who has mastered the art of storytelling. Shatner isn't the first prominent figure to partner up with Storyfile. Last year, the company surprised the world with its first and only AI Santa Claus, Tim.
No, God.
The Santinator, Tim. Yep. Santinator. Very cool. I think that's awesome.
No.
Dude, I want this. Come on. The future needs Darkness Radio Dave, AI, to come talk to, and they'll be like, Dave, finally, what is Tim's home address? And I'll be like, well, thank you for asking, dear listener. It is 314.
And then I take a shotgun and blow you away.
You can't blow away a holographic image of my AI,
I can
Tim.
blow away the server.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey, good news. Disney reportedly has no plans to water down the Alien franchise. I love the Aliens. As a matter of fact, I watched the Predator movies with my son, Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
He loves Predator. And then we watched the Predator versus Alien movies. And then he wanted to revisit and go to the Alien movies. So we've now watched Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and we're about to go to one of my favorites, which I know is controversial to say, Alien Resurrection.
Wow.
I love this movie. I love the concept of it. I loved the fun of it. So we're going to watch that. My favorites in order are Alien 2, Alien Resurrection, Alien, and Alien 3.
Huh.
Yeah. And then somewhere way out there is Alien Covenant, which is the sequel to Prometheus, which I didn't care for. But we're going to watch the canonical 4 and then go back to Alien, Prometheus, and Covenant for Max to see this. And good news. Easter is upon us, and Walmart is releasing xenomorph eggs that you can get 4 eggs, and inside our xenomorph, there's either the facehugger, the chest burster, or the alien xenomorphs themselves. So you can buy these and hide them around your house, Tim.
For when you want to scare the hell out of your children on Easter.
It's an awesome idea. I'm glad they did it. Now, when Disney took over Fox, it instantly led to many questions about what the future held for this huge number of valuable properties that now fell under the Mouse House's purview. After all, the staunchly family-friendly studio doesn't make R-rated movies or adult-oriented TV shows, but it definitely helped that the company acquired Fox Films division and stake in Hulu, which will be 100% under Disney's control by 2024. We know that the R-rated Deadpool 3 is in works from Marvel and will be a canonical part of the studio's shared universe. But there are still several other hugely marketable brands that are now part of Disney's banner, including Kingsman, Die Hard, Predator, and Alien. The latter is the subject of the first episodic TV series that's being spearheaded by Ridley Scott and Noah Hawley. But a new report from Small Screen claims that the Xenomorphs could be the stars of the major multimedia franchise covering both feature films and streaming exclusive shows. The outlet goes on to say that Disney has no plans to water down the action horror elements that have served Aliens so well over the last 4 decades either. And they now possess the means to handle it properly. A movie or TV show centered on the iconic extraterrestrials would just feel weird if it was prefaced by the usual Walt Disney Pictures title card. But the rebranded 20th Century Studios and Hulu have thankfully taken that obstacle out of the equation. Scott admitted last year that his third prequel was still on the table long before the TV series was announced, so there's every chance he could return to the theatrical side of things once Alien premieres on Hulu, setting the building blocks in place for an expansive shared mythology that retains its R rating. I'm excited. I don't know how I feel about an Alien TV series. I want to see it. I'm afraid it could go the way of Walking Dead, where the aliens are really not the central part of the storyline.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm excited. And I want to see where they take the Alien universe. But I think that there's Alien Easter eggs coming out already shows Disney's hand in this. Yeah.
The other part of that, too, is here's the danger you run into. Much like with The Walking Dead, the alien becomes window dressing,
right.
Much like with The Walking Dead, the walkers are pretty much window dressing. I mean, there's although with the new writers, led by Angela Kang, they have managed to make the show somewhat thriller, scary again.
Right.
It got to a point where it was just getting ridiculous with the walkers. There was nothing scary about it anymore, and it was more of
it's the humans, right? I mean, that's been the whole element.
Yeah.
Humankind is the real evil. I do love Alien or Resident Alien. If you guys have not seen this TV series, it has nothing to do with the Alien series. It stars Alan Tudyk. It is kind of that Northern Exposure TV show from the 80s, 90s, mixed with Starman, mixed with V. It is so beautifully done and crafted. It is funny, subversive. It is a great series. Resident Alien. Watch it. You'll thank me later. People that have checked it out have already thanked me, Tim. So that tells you that I'm on the right path.
These xenomorph eggs are actually kind of funny.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity TV series is reportedly in the works for Paramount Plus. That's right. 2007's Paranormal Activity was a tiny movie that had a huge impact on the entertainment industry. Not only did it become one of the most profitable films in history after making $200 million on a $350,000 budget, but it also helped popularize the found footage genre and was a major early success for Jason Blum's Blumhouse Productions, who have shaped the world of modern horror cinema. Despite those vast profits, though, the franchise has been dormant since 2015's Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. Until now, that is. Earlier this week, Blumhouse and Paramount announced that a 7th installment is preparing for a full production and will release on Paramount Plus in 2022. This will be directed by Underwater's Will Eubank and written by Christopher Landon, with Jason Blum and creator Oren Peli producing. But that's not the only bit of good news for fans. According to sources close to WGTC, the same ones who told us a 5th Scream movie was happening and the Exorcist franchise was getting a new outing, a TV show based on the property is in development for Paramount Plus as well. Right now, we don't know what it's about, though it's said to be set in the same universe as the films. And personally, according to this article, it says, personally, I'd love something that explored the original hauntings, given that the first Paranormal Activity came out in 2007. God, can you believe that already? Yeah. It's almost been 20 years since that movie came out.
Yeah.
Holy cow. It'd be fun to see a fake documentary show that out to analyze what really happened during those events, hopefully stirring up some old ghost stories along the way. I agree. That'd be kind of a cool way to look at it. What do you think of these horror movies coming to TV version shows? I mean, it was popular with Freddy's Nightmares in the 80s.
It's an interesting thought. It's as we get more and more streaming services, more and more content needs to be kind of fleshed out there. I just had an adjacent thought to that. You're getting to the point now of oversaturation. So, of course, more and more content needs to be made. Here's my adjacent thought to that. I don't know if you're going to like this thought here, but I'm going to throw it to you anyways. What do you think is going to be the first streaming service to fold?
I don't. I truthfully believe that the cable TV market is folding itself. Cable TV, as we know it, will no longer exist. It will be nothing more than a series of downloadable apps that show you, like Discovery Plus or Disney Plus or Paramount Plus or any one of those services going out. I guess, Netflix was on the chopping block a few years ago. They said, it's going to falter and fail, but it's still there kicking. So I don't know. I think people enjoy the non-commercial elements. I think they enjoy TV, unless TV becomes like a licensed form like it is in Europe, where you have to pay a TV franchise license every year, and then you get commercial-free TV. At least I believe that's what they do over there.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's an interesting concept, though. It'll be who do you think is going to be first to fold?
Honestly, I can see Paramount Plus being absorbed by somebody else.
By the WWE?
No, I think if anything, WWE is going to be absorbed by somebody.
Right. Yeah, that was one I was going to say. I just didn't want to hurt your feelings.
No. It's already being absorbed by Peacock.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
okay.
No, WWE Network has already gone away. That's why I didn't say that one. WWE Network has been absorbed by Peacock. So in fact, it goes away as of, I think, next month. WrestleMania is being shown on Peacock. It's not being shown on WWE Network.
I think you just like saying the word peacock and hitting the word cock part of it a lot more than you should be.
Say it backwards, it's cock pee. And it streams, so it's a cock pee stream.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But no, a WWE Network is essentially gone. It was, and Vince McMahon, I think, as he gets older, is not even going to hand the business down to his children. I think with having given SmackDown to Fox or sold the rights to Fox, he hasn't sold the rights to Fox. He's got a contract with Fox. I think essentially he's either going to sell either to NBC or Fox. He's going to sell off to a huge conglomerate. I don't think his children get the business, but that's beside the point. I honestly think the next big conglomerate is going to be Paramount. That's going to fold their streaming service. Not fold it, but they're going to sell it to another big conglomerate.
Maybe it'll all be. Maybe eventually our TV choices will be Netflix and Disney Plus.
I think,
and Disney will have absorbed everything.
I think Disney is going to absorb Paramount.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's just a matter of time. Let's jump into this next news story. Bigfoot is in the news. Could Kentucky's deep forests hide a piece of the Bigfoot puzzle? That's the question here. Of all things you'd expect to find in the hills of the Appalachian Kentucky, proof of Bigfoot's existence might not be the top of the list. Among the legends and myths in rural America, tales of Bigfoot may be some of the most well-known. Folk tales of large, hairy, hominid-like creatures roaming the woods are most associated with the American Northwest. But a team of paranormal researchers and reality TV show investigators think Kentucky's eastern mountains may hold the key to providing the cryptid is out there. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, as he's sometimes called, is generally described as being 6 to 9 feet tall, covered in hair, and ever elusive. Now, for centuries, Native Americans in the Northwest have told tales about giant ape-like men living in the mountains. The Lumi Indian tribe talked about the Tsiamukis, a tribe of ape-like people with furry white faces that blend into the snow. In some tales, they're peaceful. In others, they're violent creatures that carry off naughty children. Starting in the 1840s, though, white men working as miners and loggers in the rural parts of Oregon and Washington started telling tales of giant, hairy creatures that walked upright like humans living in the woods. The tales added a sense of mystery to rural and remote areas where people were few, but unrecognized sights and sounds were plenty. In fact, many states have their own version of Bigfoot. There's the skunk ape in Florida, the white thang. That's right, white thang.
Thang?
Thang in Alabama.
That was a Prince song, wasn't it?
No, I believe it was the spin-off to Wild Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. White thang. Dun, 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 dun.
What was that ending?
White thing.
Dun, 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 dun. That's like an old burlesque ending, isn't it?
No, I'm doing the old wild thing. Dun, 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 dun.
That was dun,
you really
dun, 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 dun.
No, you're thinking of the rap version of Wild Thing. I'm going Trogs. I'm going old school.
Oh, okay.
I want to know for sure. White Thing, you really move me. There's also the Fouke Monster, or maybe it's pronounced differently, Fouke Monster in Arkansas, Momo in Missouri, and the Wild Man of Tennessee. According to the magazine Mental Floss, there have been Bigfoot sightings in every state in the country except Hawaii. In 1967, of course, Roger Patterson and Robert Bob Gimlin were walking along Bluff Creek about 25 miles from Orleans, California, when they spotted and subsequently filmed what they said was Bigfoot. The roughly minute-long film shows a large creature fully covered in hair walking away from them into the forest. The Patterson-Gimlin film catapulted Bigfoot into pop culture. Now, small towns in California, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Oklahoma, to name just a few, hold Bigfoot festivals, hoping to use the creature's unproven existence as a draw for Bigfoot fans and fanatics. Thousands of people flock to these festivals each year, driving tourism dollars to the rural communities that otherwise might not be able to compete against larger cities. In July and August of 2020, members of the Travel Channel's TV show Expedition Bigfoot filmed their second season in Kentucky. As part of their investigation, the team thinks they found Bigfoot DNA. And we talked with Dr. Mayer on our show a couple weeks ago. And it was a great interview. You can find that in our archives. Just scroll back a couple of days. Speaking of archives, Tim has worked quickly. So season 1, 2, and part of 3 are up now. He'll be putting up more as we go. But you can scroll back and find some of our excellent old archive shows. How about that?
I'm hoping to have all of 2008 up here very, very shortly. So
right.
Yeah.
So 2006, 2007, 2008 will be up. And then we've got the last, I think, like 6 years of the show, 7 years of the show available as well. Correct?
We go back to all of 2017. So all of Beyond the Darkness and up to now is up. So yeah, there's quite a bit.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, the team, Bryce Johnson, the expedition operations, Dr. Miriam Mayer, primatologist, Russell Accord, ex-military survivalist, and Ronnie LeBlanc, a Bigfoot researcher, uses the latest in technology to search for the elusive cryptid from drone footage and trail cams, and the group collects data and sends it to experts in the field to analyze. And it's not just a team of amateurs out there combing the woods either. Johnson, Accord, and LeBlanc have extensive histories as Bigfoot researchers, while Dr. Mayer is a world-renowned primatologist. For nearly 20 years, she has been a wildlife correspondent, including that for National Geographic. Her explorations have led to several scientific discoveries, including the co-discovery of the world's smallest primates and brand new species, Russ's mouse lemur, which she also co-discovered with her colleague Dr. Edward Lewis on an expedition in northern Madagascar. Using an advanced algorithm, the team determined the location of a 75,000-acre area southeast Kentucky held the greatest mathematical odds of encountering a Bigfoot during the specific 21-day window they were filming. Starting there, they were able to find what they believe are migratory patterns of the famed cryptid, as well as possible structure made from these trees to what others claim are Bigfoot creatures. According to Sasquatch investigations of the Rockies, tree structures are thought to be an indication of Bigfoot creatures making and marking off their territory from other Bigfoot creatures. The team then collected soil samples from under the structure and sent them to the UCLA California Environmental DNA Program for analysis. Environmental DNA, eDNA, is a genetic material naturally left behind by animals in the environment. Analysis of these samples generates a snapshot of whatever animals or creatures are living in the area. Now, according to Miroslava Mungia Ramos, the eDNA program project manager, analysis of the samples indicates another primate other than humans were in that area. What we're looking at are the unique organisms that are able to identify. Our software does what's known as metabar coding. So it'll match up all the DNA sequences that we're able to detect and try to cross-reference them with the thousands of genomes that have been published, she said in an email interview. What I found very interesting was that, yes, we have detected human DNA in these areas, but we're still seeing different primate DNA. There wasn't just one human primate. There are several different primates, some sort of primate relative that exists in this data. Ramos said the DNA seemed to come from a species of chimpanzee that would not normally be seen in the rural hillsides of Kentucky. It's a real head-scratcher, she said. It's important to note that the higher the detection, the more confidence we can say that whatever organism, whatever taxonomy we're looking at was apparent in that area. And in this case, we're looking at the pan genus or the chimpanzee genus. There's 3,000 reads. For Mayer, the discovery is significant because it's based on science, not lore or legend. Finding what appears to be a very large structure seemingly created with intention and requiring great strength as well as foresight is interesting, Mayer said in an email. It's not unheard of for primates to stack sticks or rocks, although for me, the jury is still out as to what that was. There is no guesswork in science. It is great that eDNA was collected from that site. That may give us the answers to what we're looking for. Mayer said the DNA found was surprising. So that's pretty exciting news. Very cool stuff going on in the Bigfoot realm. Man, what if all of this shit comes to a head in 1 year? Bigfoot, aliens, and Tim's phone number and address. What if all of them are released to the public at one time?
Yeah, don't get your hopes up. Just saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I try, folks. Tim just shuts you down. Hi, Dave. On January 31st of this year, my brother passed away with a short 5-week battle with pancreatic cancer. He was just 54. He was in hospice at my parents' place for 4 of those weeks. My siblings and I, which there's now 6 of, took our turns staying with our parents and caring for our brother. In the 2 weeks prior to his passing, he would zone out and make hand gestures as if he was fishing, which was his primary love in life. I asked him if he was fishing with anyone we knew, and he faintly mouthed yes. I asked him if it was our grandpa who passed away in 1986. Again, he said yes. As this went on for a few weeks, he kept staring into the corner of the wall where it meets the ceiling and doing this repeatedly multiple times per day. I remember the temperature changed every time I went near that corner until he passed away. Move forward to Tuesday, February 2nd at 2 in the morning. I woke up in bed, staring out my window, unable to move, and I could see my brother standing just 3 feet from me, wearing his Gophers hockey jersey and staring at me intently. But he looked healthy, as if to say, the cancer's gone. I'm not suffering anymore, and I'm healthy. I believe he came back to reassure me that he's okay now. This experience I went through has made me an honest believer in the afterlife. They are with us. They don't want to leave. We are with them. We don't want them to leave. I just listened to the Mike Anthony interview, not the old basis for Van Halen, and felt compelled to share my story. I hope you find this intriguing. And that comes from Chad. Thank you, Chad, for sharing that story. That is a beautiful story, and I'm glad that you had that kind of connection and that your grandfather, or your brother rather, was able to see your grandfather. That's very cool.
Yep.
Ah, very nice. This email starts off, Hi, Caroline. I hope this email finds you and your big ego well. LOL. I can't believe some people don't realize you guys are just joking with each other. Any hoozle, I wanted to thank you for doing Phenomena again. I find myself doing it when I hear anything that says Phenomena, and my husband thinks it's hilarious, but he doesn't listen to Darkness Radio, so he doesn't understand. I would like to donate to your son for lunch. Thanks a lot. And sending a lot of love to Tim. And that comes from Val.
Thanks,
Val. What the hell's wrong with your husband? A snob? He can't listen to our radio show?
Yeah, really.
Val? Talk to him, Val.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. Well, speaking of grandparents and children, there's a weird story, Tim. I'm going to send this to you.
Okay.
I got to be honest. I'm not seeing what this cat is seeing. But, I mean, I see something, obviously.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt that there is something there. But let me read the story, and we'll take it from there, if you don't mind, good friend. Grandmother has made a phone call, Tim, to contact a paranormal team, claiming that there's a demon standing over her granddaughter's bed. This was filmed on January 7th, 2021 at around 3 a.m. Do you believe in demons? Well, one woman got the fright of her life after seeing a strange figure standing over her granddaughter's bed. And she's called on a paranormal expert to help her find out exactly what it was. Tori McKenzie from Las Vegas explains that after her 2-year-old granddaughter, Amber, had begun talking to an unseen entity in the middle of the night, she decided to install a motion-activated camera at her son Ryan's house to try to make sense of who the toddler was speaking to. A few days later, Tori admits that she checked the footage and was horrified to see an unknown figure standing close to her young granddaughter and 7-month-old grandson, Michael. It was so shocking. When I saw it, I had to do a double take, Tori says. The first thing I saw was horns on its head. So you immediately think it's a devil or a demon. When we caught videos of the orbs, we thought it was a family member looking after the kids. But that picture, I have no idea. It's terrifying. She adds that she called on her children to help make sense of the figure. I showed the kids, and my 13-year-old son was scared by it. I ran over to the house and showed my oldest son. We were just in shock, and he couldn't explain it either. She goes on, everybody was asleep, so it couldn't have been my son or his partner. We have still shots of him in there, and it looks nothing like that. I know that it's something supernatural. Freaked out, Tori says that the family has decided to move the children to a different room for the time being. Ryan has moved the children out of their room and into his. Nothing bad has happened to them yet, but it's the fact that it could that worried Tori. Tori adds that it doesn't seem like the child is terrified of the figure. The 2-year-old isn't scared of the figure and thinks it's her friend, but one night she told it to go away. In a bid to put the scenario to rest, Tori shared the image on Facebook group asking paranormal experts to help. She says when she tried to get rid of the demon by burning oils, cabinets, and curtains opened. Let me put a comma in that sentence, Tim.
Okay.
She says that when she tried to get rid of the demon by burning oils, comma, cabinets and curtains opened and closed, and music began to play by itself. Ryan has let me try and figure out where to go with this, so I thought I would post it on Facebook to try and get some help, she says in the group. For the most part, everybody's been supportive, suggesting what to do and who to speak to. I just want to get rid of whatever it is. So an interesting, weird thing, but does that look like a demon to you?
Off the bat, no. I'll tell you why. When I look at it, what they're seeing as horns looks like
Glasses?
What's that?
Glasses?
It might be glasses, but it may look like it's just, you know how you get shaky camera syndrome?
Right.
This looks like a refraction off of something like glasses, but it looks like an unsteady camera or like a light refraction off of something that's unsteady.
Now we both see the figure. There's no doubt that there's a figure standing in the room.
No doubt there's a figure, but it's a very blurry image. In fact, everything is very blurry with the exception of the child. The child is somewhat sharper. So
what image are you looking at? Because to me, the kid and the ghost look very blurry, but everything else in the room looks really sharp.
Okay, so the kid is a little bit more blurry. Well, the right-hand side is a lot more sharper than everything else.
And the demon looks like it's farting on the kid's head.
It does, yes. It looks like the demon's taking a dookie on the kid. Yeah. But yeah, the everything is pretty. What's a good way of putting it? Everything is pretty cloudy with the figures. So how you can determine that that's a demon, I don't know. There's no horns per se.
Right.
It's the face is pretty shapeless. So to say that that's a demon, I don't buy that. I can see where you see an outline of a person, that's obvious.
Right.
But I don't buy demon.
I don't know what it is. It looks like Abe Sapien from Help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it also just looks like a person in a lightly baggy sweatshirt, pants, or something. I don't know.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable. I'm going to be honest with you. It's an uncomfortable thing to see.
Right.
In your room, farting on your kid. But other than that, I don't know. Also have another picture. Now, these videos and pictures are going to be up on our site, darknessradio.com. Click on the news tab. You'll find the news stories there every week, week in and week out. Stories that have video, photographs, audio, something like that we'll put up so that you can go see it for yourself. This next one, the headline reads, Paranormal Activity? Baby dramatically falls as if she were pushed. Experts say it's just a bunch of phantom foolery. A viral video of a North Carolina baby being pushed by a ghost is being debunked by experts who claim the so-called supernatural encounter is nothing more than digital trickery. The 5-second clip posted to social media last month of Fort Bragg's Shelby Patterson shows a toddler ambling suspiciously swiftly across a room as her mom watches from the couch. All of a sudden, the tot topples backwards onto their bottom, supposedly shoved by a spectral being. Patterson told the Post that the little girl had been playing on her trampoline when she ran towards our kitchen area, stopped in her tracks, and fell backwards very hard. Obviously, I made sure she was okay. It wasn't until after I put her to bed that she said, that I sat and thought about her falling. I knew she wouldn't intentionally make herself go back like that. Go figure, video analysts didn't feel the suspected clip proved the existence of paranormal activity. To me, it looks like the toddler just fell, legendary British-American skeptic and science writer Mick West told the Post in an interview. When someone is pushed, the initial movement is quite rapid and leads to twisting or bending of the body at the waist. That's not true. You get hit and go straight back. We've played football, and there's no sudden movement here. Instead, the initial movement is slow with no reaction. The toddler simply falls over backwards by itself, said the former video game programmer whose website MetaBunk investigates and disproves conspiracy theories from chemtrails to UFOs. Judging by the earlier stumble, it seems like walking is a new thing, and so it has not yet learned how to deal with losing balance very well. I love that they refer to the kid as an it. So it has not yet learned. West concluded that the supernatural smackdown was likely just an odd-looking fall in the dark. The Post's resident video expert, Stephen Greenstreet, seconded the sentiment, claiming that it looked as if the tyke had stepped on something, maybe even a block. The kid's feet are more or less stay in the same place during the fall, said the ghost video buster who made a chilling discovery while exploring one of the U.S.'s most haunted prisons. If she was pushed, her feet and legs would have moved back. As for the accelerated speed of the video, Greenstreet said that it caused by a lower frame rate, while the blurs in the motion are due to a wide shutter speed. It looks like the kid falls faster than they actually did, Greenstreet added. His closing argument, a ghost couldn't have pushed the toddler because ghosts aren't real. I cry shenanigans! How dare you say ghosts aren't real? Son of a bitch. I'm going to give his phone number. 011-847-462-94783149-2765. Something like that in England, Tim. Those numbers are really long.
Seems a little long, yeah.
It's really weird to start a phone number and not have somebody tell me to stop. I got to be honest with you. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I make of it. I don't know. It looks, I've been around kids. I don't know if you know this about me, Tim.
No,
but I've been around kids most of my life.
No.
I've seen kids run and fall, and I've seen kids just stand and fall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about this piece of video. Something seems off to me, though. I'm going to be honest with you. And the guy's like, the kid's just running along and in a dark. No, dude. No. This kid seems to hit like almost an invisible wall, but there's a weird blur that occurs just before the kid gets knocked down. It's like this blur. And then the mom's just sitting there with another baby at her feet. I don't think this looks like a kid just fell over. I've seen that multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I tell caseworkers when they visit them.
Well, you should, yeah.
That it's I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. Huh. Dave, I've been a listener for 11 years. The opening of the most recent show is a horrible inside look at the mind of a big Hollywood ego. I'm guessing that you have hidden Tim's pot pen and will not give it back until he read off the script that you provided him.
Wow.
Do everybody a favor and get on a plane, fly to Texas and walk across the border back to Canada. And when you're going to have you're going to have the guy who does the voice, Rolf the dog, back on. Crazy writing. Hey, and when are you going to have the guy who does the voice of Rolf the dog back on? He had more talent in his little finger than you do in your whole body. That comes from Steven. He gets it, Tim. He gets it. He gets it. He knows he's playing back with us because we were talking about how people rip on my ego and assume that because you took my side last week that I must have drugged you to do so.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's not what happened. Okay. Tim drugged himself.
Yeah, I do that quite often. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Life is short. Yeah. Enjoy drugs. Right. I'm Dave Schrader, and I approve this ad. All right, our final story. An Air Force chaplain cleanses Yokota Air Base homes where odd things have been occurring. We're going to Yokota Air Base in Japan. The headquarters of U.S. Forces Japan may also be the home to supernatural activity, according to a couple who claim to help anyone dealing with paranormal disturbances to rid their homes of unwanted spirits. Chaplain, that's Captain Lance Brown to you and me, of Yokota's 374th Wing Staff Agency, and his wife, Karen Brown, who is working on a master's in counseling, have been performing home cleansings or anointings for the past 8 years in homes where odd things occur. Supernatural activity is reported so often at the base in western Tokyo that has inspired a Facebook group, Yokota Ghost Hunter Club. Its members post about paranormal phenomena they've experienced at their homes and workplaces. Lance is endorsed by the Pentecostal Church of God and does home cleanses. They're not officially sanctioned by the Air Force, he told Stars and Stripes in an interview back on March 1st. Ghosts are spiritual demonic activity, things of an evil nature. Ghosts or spiritual demonic activity, things of an evil nature. God combats that, he said. We have the ability to do and be that beacon of hope as people invite us. The Browns said their cleansings are sometimes about helping people cope with anxiety, heartbreak, or troubled past, rather than literal evil spirits, though Lance said they are not suggesting the supposed presence of spirits is all in the person's head. Lori Pope, who lives in one of Yokota's garden units, said she started to feel uncomfortable in her home last year. My 3-year-old daughter has been experiencing sleep regression in the past year. Sleep regression. Got to read further. I got to understand this. She told Stars and Stripes over Facebook Messenger on March 1st, there have been several times when I would be watching her video monitor and I would see orbs of light in her room. There have been a few instances where I'd be in my bedroom and I would see a white streak of light run past the foot of my bed. And more recently, my daughter has been saying she's seeing monsters and that she's scared. Of course she is. Godzilla versus King Kong is about to launch.
Yeah.
Here in Japan, Godzilla is stirring. Pope and her husband, Master Sergeant Austin Pope of the 374th Maintenance Squadron, decided that since Lori is 6 months pregnant, they needed to do something to help their daughter feel less afraid and sleep through the night before bringing the new baby home. The family found the Browns on Facebook and, despite not identifying with any religion, decided to give it a try. I know it won't happen overnight, but I'm hoping we can all live more comfortably in our home, regardless if there is a spirit existing here, Lori said. The Browns' anointing process starts with talking to the family about what is happening at home. We discuss what they're seeing, hearing, and sensing to determine if it's just a creaky house or if something evil is going on here, Lance said. Some people call it a spidey sense, but we refer to it as a discernment of spirits, a heightened sense of things that are different or off. They then apply anointing oil, a mixture of frankincense, myrrh, aloes, and herbs to anything that needs to be blessed, including people and objects. They also use incense and holy water. It's not as intense as the movies like The Exorcist or anything like that, Karen said. After all, after we leave, the situation has never gotten worse, ever. The Popes, who had their home anointed March 1st, are hopeful that the process worked for her family. My daughter still isn't sleeping through the night, Lori said, but I feel a much greater sense of peace being home alone, especially at night. The Browns do the cleanses free of cost, judgment, or disclosure. They said people need not be religious to have a home cleansing, said the Browns. Their objective is not to convert anyone's belief systems. The couple said they received more calls at Yokota over the past year than they did at their previous assignment at Fort McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas. The Browns weren't exactly sure how many calls they've received on Yokota, but explained that they receive a steady flow of requests and had a cleansing arranged for right after the interview with Stars and Stripes. Belief in hauntings, dark spirits, and exorcisms is rooted in several factors, including religious beliefs. But the afterlife and people desire to connect and find patterns and significance in unusual or seemingly inexplicable incidents, according to Michael Shermer, a science historian and the founder of the Skeptic Society in Altadena, California. Incidents seem significant when you're looking for it, he said in a phone interview on March 9th. The uncertainty and restrictions associated with the year-long coronavirus pandemic possibly amplifies stress and emotion, Lance said. Add to that the feeling of isolation and separation from family and friends that comes with living in a foreign country. These feelings can make someone more heightened to portals for spiritual activity. The Browns declined to share the details of specific cleansings, but they have experienced fear and emotional responses themselves during some visits. It's not anything Hollywood, but evil is a real thing, Lance said. You just sense an absolute darkness, and your skin tingles, and the hair on the back of your neck rises, and you sense a great sense of, I don't want to be here. That's what most people feel every Monday morning on their way to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, how dare you? You can expect to hear from our attorneys when you say there's just an absolute sense of darkness. That is a trademark, sir. be hearing from our attorneys. That's it for this week. Fun show. Lots of cool stories. Lots of cool stuff going on. Thank you very much for sharing with us and being a part of our world. And tomorrow we are back. A good friend of ours joins the show, Jeff Belanger, the Spirits of Kilimanjaro. We're going to talk about his epic journey up Kilimanjaro and the spiritual nature of it, not just the holistic theologic spiritual nature, but the actual ghosty sense and presence that inspired Jeff and we're with him along his journey. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow right here on the Best in Paranormal Talk Radio. Thursday night, join me for live Holzer's Ghosts as we look at the season 2 season finale, Blood on the Rocks. Joining me, co-host Tim Dennis, director of photography for the entire Holzer Files series. Rob Toth will be on hand. Cindy Kaza, Shane Pittman, and we're working on a few other special guests, if at all possible. So hopefully you can check that out live video stream Thursday night on our social media page, which is Darkness Radio. You'll also see it on my social media page on Facebook. It's also at our Darkness Radio YouTube page. Go check out Darkness Radio on YouTube. You'll find it. You can check it out there. Don't forget, Friday, we're back doing a special short news presentation, Parashare, if you will, with the one and only Terry Carnation, legendary radio paranormal host. Terry Carnation joined us to talk about his return to radio with Dark Air, I apologize, Dark Air on April 1st. So that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. So he'll be live video streaming. If you don't know who Terry Carnation is, go look him up. It's amazing. You're not going to want to miss this. We don't want to rain on your parade, but if you miss this episode, you're definitely going to kick yourself in the butt. So go check it out. And that'll be a live video stream on Friday this week on our social media platforms and on YouTube, Darkness Radio YouTube. The audio for that will be made available the following Wednesday in a much longer presentation of supernatural news and Parashers. Mr. Carnation is only joining us for a segment, so make sure you tune in and check that out. All right, that's it for this presentation. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the Best in Paranormal Talk Radio. For that guy, I'm this guy. You've been listening to that show. This is Darkness Radio.